Welcome to the Total Boss Podcast, and I'm your host, Christiano Green, a podcast where we talk about finding fulfillment through self-development, being a leader of your own life, and getting the most out of it as well. Tenacity, originality, talent, authenticity, and being legendary. It's all about living your best life. Hello, all you total bosses out there, and welcome to another episode of the Total Boss Podcast. I am your host, Christiano Green, and I'm a gay men's relationship coach, helping gay men to attract and create healthy, happy, passionate, and loving relationships, no matter if they're single, freshly out of a toxic relationship, or in a committed relationship, just wanting to improve it. So this week's episode, I really wanted to talk about the blurred line between friendships and sex partners that people have, especially people in the gay community. Now, from the years that I spent in partying and clubs and, having so many different kinds of friendships, I've seen so many different things that have happened, and I've also been a part of some interesting things that have happened, especially within my own friendships and friendship groups that have led to, sex as well. And I really wanted to talk about it because I've been looking into some details, and I found an interesting fact that it said that 85% of gay relationships, people started out as friends. So friendships apparently is the number one leading into a relationship. And that's a hell of a lot higher than apparently, hookup sites or meeting people and then, falling straight into a relationship. So interesting that this week I wanted to talk about, like I said, the blurred line between friendships and then sex partners, and then what can happen? Can that lead into relationships? And why does it happen? How does it happen? And why is it such a different kind of way of going about it than the straight community? Because a lot of straight community people don't really, again, have a lot of sex with their friendship groups, right? Because again, they're different kinds and people may be hanging out differently and yada, yada, yada. So for gay men, from my own experience, I can remember two experiences where two of my really close friends, we ended up sleeping together. Both of them got really messy and complicated in the end, but, a lot of these things went on for quite some time. And, on one side of it, the very first one, I actually, was in love with, and it kind of was a big, messy situation in the end because there was the blurred lines were really crossed and it kind of ended the friendship because of it. So, the first time I actually met this person, we did, hook up, and then we became really good friends. He got a partner. They were dating for well over a year. And then as things got bad and they broke up, again, my friend, made advances on me and we started, sleeping together again. But again, the line between is this a friendship and is this something else was blurred because one, we were such good friends. Two, we were living together. And three, it was happening quite often. So, there was this whole difference between, if it had just happened once here and there, I think it would have been a normal situation where, okay, we were drunk or it was in the moment, we felt like it, we did it and we moved on. But because it kept happening and it was this weird, energy between us, it did get to a place where it felt like it was more than just, again, friends. And then again, because of that happening and a whole lot more going on down the track with him having to move back overseas, us, continuing on online, it kind of turned into some sort of a unmarked relationship. We didn't call it, we didn't claim it, we didn't label it. But if you really looked at it, it was a relationship on some level. And there was more of a connection there in that way than it was just a friendship, which I think is why, it didn't work out in the end. Because one, we were in different places in our lives, different countries, different journeys. And we just, I guess, weren't meant to be. And that's okay. I learned a lot from that experience, good, bad, and ugly. But you'll always be able to take away the best things that you can from it, right? Now, the second time that it happened was, again, another good friend of mine. And it was one of those things where it would just happen here and there. Like, we would be out partying, and then we'd be back at my house where the kick-on was, and then everyone would go home, and then not always happen, but it would happen sometimes. So it kind of happened like that. And to me, on my end, it was just more of a sex thing, especially because, again, back in those days, I was, partaking in the party scene. So, after a big night out, sometimes you'd be really just up for it. And, if someone's there, then someone's there. And I think that's what can happen a lot of time between, people in the gay community, especially people who get caught up in the gay scene, the party scene, is that, it's easy when you're out partying, to then, want to go home at the end of it and, get off, especially depending on what you're using, because that's kind of some of what people get into is especially when it comes to some of the drugs, which really are sex drugs as well. People get into those there and get caught up in things, and then again, friendships are blurred, lines are done, because again, some people just, that's really what they do, for their partying is just literally drugs so that they can have sex, right? Get in the mood and have sex parties and all of these things. And again, a lot of times it's just all friendships and, different kinds of friendships, right, than maybe what some other people are used to. But that's often how some things are made. And so, again, if people get caught up in that and do that, again, have sex with a lot of different friends, and they become friends because of these kinds of environments. But again, it's nothing further than a friendship outside of these things, because it's not a relationship built on, partnership or anything like that, romance, intimacy. It's literally sex. So some people can be sex friends, some people can be friendships and evolve into sex, and some people can evolve into a friendship into a relationship, as we know. So it really all depends on, the people and the kinds of sex that you're having, the kind of things that you're into, the things that you get caught up in, the kinds of people that you hang around with. And so again, it's easy enough for a lot of gay people to end up having sex depending on, again, the circumstances that they have. Now, the average gay person who, I guess, wouldn't get caught up in the party scene, wouldn't get caught up in drinking and drugs, probably doesn't necessarily have a group of friends where they're going to go out and do these things with and just have sex. They could, because again, it all depends on what's going on. But again, I would say from my experience, knowing so many different people and working with hundreds of gay men over the years and speaking to thousands of gay men over the years, that the people who get caught up in those environments are usually people who've, been in the party scene or the sex scenes or the drug scenes, etc., that get caught up in those things. A normal day-to-day person who isn't going and putting themselves in those experiences, or maybe isn't from a town or a big city where those kind of things might happen, might not get caught up in that as well. So again, it's really a lot about environment. But the truth is that, again, at the core, you've got to really start to think about friendships and what is a friendship to you, and what do you class as friendship? Because again, for each person it's different, and as you can see in some of these situations, some people might have some really close friends, some people might have party friends, some people might have sex friends, some people might have work friends. People class friendships in different categories for so many different reasons, right? You might have friends because of situational friendships, and you might have friends because you choose to actively be in each other's lives. You might be friends because of things that you've shared together. And again, it's okay to have different kinds of friendship. It's just being aware of that so you can see if you're really getting out of the friendship what you want. Again, when I talk about some of the friendships that I've had that have evolved into, sex, and then different things happened, most of these people were good friends, and it kind of led that way one way or another. And, most of the time, alcohol or sex and drugs, etc., was in the mix. It didn't just happen because we were just at home watching a movie and then bang, 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 or it happened because of the environment that we were in. And again, some of it worked out really well and some of it didn't. And most of the time, again, I'm going to say that, it can add a bit of pressure to the friendship, especially if one person has feelings and the other doesn't, which in the first case with me, I felt I had more of the feelings than he did. And again, that ultimately led to us no longer being in each other's life. Now, if we didn't have sex, do I still feel we would be in each other's lives? No, because again, we all know that in life and friendships and reality, things happen. People's lives go in different directions, right? And that's kind of what happens in life. Again, you might be friends with someone for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 years. And it all might be down to just being in the same area, going to the same high school together, working together, going out together. But again, as soon as things change in life, it really comes down to where are you going? Where are you now? Are these friendships serving you? Are you getting out of it what you deserve? Vice versa as well, right? Or has something happened within your friendship that could have changed it? Because as we know throughout the, relationships, especially depending on what kind of friendships you have, people can do some things to people that really piss people off. Now, I know I've done so plenty of things that have really caused some, pain for other people, and vice versa, because again, everything's open to interpretation. People look at things through the lens of their model of the world. So if I'm doing something over here, not necessarily meaning that I'm doing something wrong to you, but if you take it in that way, again, that can really affect a friendship, right? Because if I'm doing something for me, but again, in your eyes, it's going against you, it can be hard, right? And same vice versa. If someone's doing something over there and I take it personally that it's done to me, then that can ruin our friendship or it can change our friendships. And so as you look at life in general, some of these things were meant to go the course that they did. Some of these things happened for a reason, for you to learn, for you to grow, for you to develop, right? Sometimes people come into your life for a season, for a reason, and for a lifetime. And again, sometimes that season means that, these are the years of me partying and we're all great friends while we party. And as we move into the next phase of our life, the next season of our life, again, maybe there's that connection's not there because maybe that person's still in that season and you're not, or again, your season's led you to move somewhere else or do something different, etc., right? You've got to hold on to the memories and cherish the people that were there during that season. Again, next time, someone could be in your life for a reason. Someone came into your life to teach you something through giving you grief or love or whatever, and it's taught you to maybe be a more open person, which taught you a powerful lesson that you need to learn, right? That's a reason why someone is in your lifetime. And then when you look at the lifetime people, these are the people that have been through the thick and the thin, the ups and the downs, the good, the bad, the ugly, and have seen you at your worst, but have also seen you at your best. And you'll see that the people that are in that category, probably, a handful of people. You're lucky if there's 2 handfuls of people outside of your own family, right? And some people are unlucky enough to not have that with their family, right? So you have to really get to a place where you say, hey, what is important to me? What is important about friendships? What kinds of friendships do I have? And again, when it relates to blurring those lines between friendship and sex, know that sometimes that's just the way that the course goes. And again, also know that you have a choice in these situations if you want to go down that path. And you can't always put blame on someone else for leading it there if you took the opportunity to take it, right? Unless it was unconsensual, you have to really take responsibility for your part in this. And again, when it comes to friendship, when it comes to sex, when it comes to anything, if you're making a choice, know that you did that. Maybe that was the way that the course of the friendship was leading you. And sometimes, again, it can work out in such a great way because, again, sometimes that'll lead to a relationship. Or it might just lead to a bit of fun. Or it might lead to something where you no longer friends with that person anymore. Again, you have to look at this and look at it and go, hey, is it worth it? If I end up taking this step forward and hooking up with this person, what will happen to my friendship? Will it go in a good direction or a bad direction? And is it worth it for me to give it a go? Right? Because then again, those are the things that you might want to weigh up. But again, you could also look at it and say, hey, look, we're not really that close. If we do this, it's fun. And let's just let the experience be what it is. Again, that's what a lot of people do. So again, within the gay community, these things are more common because of the environments that we're in and the kinds of people that we have and the experiences that we've been through. And again, the liberations around sex and the ideologies of what that means and exploring and being young. And like I said, trying to step into it. And again, when you've repressed yourself sexually for a long time, again, when I say long time, that could be, up to your 20s or 30s, where you may not have partaken in that. And when you want to jump into it, you jump fully in and you want to explore things, right? I know that's what happened to me when I really came out. I was like, I had the first time that I ever kissed someone was the first time I had sex with someone, right? So for me, that was 21 years of age, right? And that's not a huge late bloomer in comparison to some people. But when you look at people who are, doing things, in their high school experience, 13, 14, 15, onwards, again, it's considered a late bloomer to some people. And so when you are going through that experience and you meet people and you're out and you're doing this, and, sometimes you just want to say yes to things. So it's all about you taking responsibility and ownership of the things that you've done and go, hey, where am I at? Obviously, right now, I'm so happy in a happy, committed, loving, passionate, happy, healthy relationship with my partner, right? And, these are things that have happened in my past, and I'm sure, he's got a past as well. I don't necessarily need to, what's happened before our relationship is before our relationship. So on my end, all of the things that I've done, great, fantastic. All the things he's done, great, fantastic. They've led us to where we are. So I'm grateful for that. And I think you also need to start thinking about that as yourself, as you're looking at your friendships, and as you're looking at trying to find a relationship and find love. It's just owning where you're at and moving forward in that direction. All right, guys, I know that I went on a bit of a rant there, but I'm sure you enjoyed going down the rabbit hole with me. So I'd love to hear from you. What are some of your experiences of, friendships? Have you hooked up with any of your friends? Has it gone into a good experience, a bad experience? Was it what you expected? Was it not what you expected? I'd love for you to share that so you can, reach out to me on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, on LinkedIn, or comment below any questions you have as well, because I'd happily answer those for you. But I'm going to leave it there, guys. I'll catch you next week. And always remember that you've got this and I've got you.